Just you wait, sha-da-da, sha-da-da, sha-da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, what can you say? That's PBS for you.
What's going on, everybody?
But he'll do your advice real soon. Just you wait.
I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, fantastic afternoon, fantastic afternoon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is also our broadcast coming to you live from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a spectacular revamp of Hasan is streaming from Just Soup for My Family 2026 edition. Yes, I'm in Canada. You made PHILIP DEFRANCO again with this topic.
ISIS finally getting out of Minnesota.
ISIS is true. ISIS is getting out of Minnesota.
But also, when it comes to real potential matchups for 2028, we should talk about this backlash and controversy because we're going to see this play out. And one of the most recent ways it has is you have tons of people slamming political commentator Hasan Piker for how he might be voting. Right? Because on a recent appearance on Jennifer Welch's I've Had It podcast, she brought up some hypothetical presidential tickets.
Let's say that Gavin Newsom becomes the nominee, that we make it midterms.
Devastating.
Do you vote for him over J.D. Vance?
I don't know.
Well, I'd have to vote for Gavin Newsom,
Me
of
too.
course, 100%.
I wouldn't blink. What about you, Hasan?
I'd probably vote third party.
You would?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, because my policy on this is the same as, like, my refusal to endorse Kamala Harris. The reason why I did not endorse Kamala Harris was because she did things that were not only unproductive, but also unconscionable.
And that, it prompted a ton of outrage and a lot of, are you fucking kidding me? With a lot of people thinking that Hasan shouldn't be encouraging third-party votes to his massive following, and some saying things like, insanely irresponsible take, given the harm this administration has unleashed just 1 year in. As well as, can we move on from these left-wing creators that
Yeah, Hillary Clinton's staffer, once again, that openly said he didn't vote for Zohran Mamdani.
have built a business on just hating Democrats. It helps nobody but themselves. You also had tons of people accusing Hasan of being a grifter, arguing that he, quote, wants Republicans in office because he gets to cosplay a revolutionary, which raises his profile and makes him more money. And then separately from takes on Hasan, you had some pushing back on criticisms of Gavin Newsom. We're saying, I live in California, my gay friends have basic rights, my girlfriend can access reproductive care, and we've raised the minimum.
Of course, PHILIP is going to cook me on this because he is, you know, when the cards fall, he will be a professional misunderstander as well. Once again, PHILIP, I mean, we talk all the time privately. I like PHILIP DEFRANCO. I'd love to have this conversation with you. I think it would be a productive conversation.
But then as far as Hasan, he's defended himself in a series of posts saying, do you want free healthcare? Do you want free college? Do you want to stop Israel? I'll vote for anyone who sincerely believes in making that happen. Adding, I never said J.D. Vance is better than Newsom. You want to believe I said that because you can't comprehend a world where democracy implies asking for concessions from your elected representatives before doing loyalty pledges to them like a happy serf. With Hasan then saying, shit libs who don't care about losing to Trump now want you to obey in advance to their hypothetical establishment candidate while there isn't even a guarantee there will be an election 2 years from now, using marginalized people as a cudgel as Gavin threw trans people under the bus. And while he had his supporters, you also had a number of people pushing back at that response, saying things like, no one is asking anyone to obey in advance, so please come
like John Fetterman's staffer, who only recently left John Fetterman.
And some others also taking issue with how he framed Newsom's stance on trans rights. With one person saying, actual trans person here, Gavin Newsom made a comment about trans athletes that I don't agree with, but California is still one of the best places to be trans in the country. See the difference? You don't care about what happens to us, so stop acting like you speak for us. Now with all this, you actually had Jennifer Welch ending up posting a video in his defense claiming,
What Hasan is saying is we need to build a party that has an FDR style impact that really, really impacts the lives of people instead of this slow moving incremental change that the current Democratic Party always proposes. Number one, Hasan's not a politician. Number two, Hasan gets to think whatever he thinks. Number three, there is a large growing number of Americans in Gen Z and as millennials that have felt completely unseen and left behind by the two-party political system, who hate and despise how much they suck up to corporations. We have time right now to have these conversations and to move our politicians to a progressive populist platform.
with Welch even going so far as to say one of the reasons that Democrats lose is because they do not listen to voices like Hasan Piker's. So it's also worth noting that during the podcast, Hasan did preempt any potential backlash, claiming that Democrats might lose solely because of him.
I am incapable. There is no singular force in this country that is capable of making or breaking an election. And if that was real, then it is the most idiotic thing not to listen to my demands. But everybody knows that that's not real, right?
You know, with all that said, I would really love to know your thoughts here. Obviously, with any election, whether it be local or national, I think you should weigh the difference between the two people.
I think he did a decent job of showing both sides.
Ideally, I'd love a ranked choice system that brings in more voices, different voices, but that's a whole other video. And then I'm going to vote for the best or least worst of the two top options. That is why I voted for Kamala Harris. Does she represent everything I want in the country? No. But to think or argue that a government and a country led by her versus Donald Trump would be the exact same thing with the exact same things happening, no.
I'm not saying that Kamala Harris would be identical to Donald Trump. And there are certain areas where the Democrats would definitely be identical to Trump. It's, Israel being one of them, or at least they don't shy away from communicating that they would be the same, right? That's what Kamala Harris did. Someone made a comment that Gavin would come on the show if you said you were a conservative law. Exactly. Yeah, that's my real grift is I'm positioning myself as anti-Gavin Newsom and a conservative MAGA guy so that Gavin Newsom comes on the show so I can grill him on some of his fucking positions. But I do think that we should be having these conversations, especially now, far away from the actual election, so that we can nip this shit in the fucking bud. So when people chirp at me to get clicks or whatever the fuck, you can keep doing that if you want to do that. But I do think that I should have a conversation with like the Midas Touch guys, Pod Johns. I'll go on neutral territory like that to talk to some of these fucking centrist liberals. Like I'll duke it out with Trey Easton, even though he's a irrelevant figure overall. You know how I say that there is like you need to be definable by your opinions, by your policies, by what you put out there for the Democrats in general. I feel like for Destiny, or also known as Sex Pestiny, he is definable by having a son who is a neo-Nazi, constantly aligning with white nationalist, white supremacist neo-Nazis, being able to say the N-word and all these other slurs as a white guy, and also on top of that, being super pro-Israel, and procuring child sexual abuse material. Those are his, like, if there was a Zoran-style situation here to define Sex Pestiny as, it would be that. Also, here it is. Pisco saying, so you would vote for Trump over HASAN, correct? I would vote for the guy who supported January 6th versus the guy who supported October 7th. Yes. Guy who has positioned himself as being anti-Trump above all else turns around and says, actually, Trump is better than Hassan Piker. If you can't call that Hassan derangement syndrome, not sure what you can call that. Crazy that people that leave the orbit are able to understand your positions. Yeah, this person used to be a Destiny orbiter, now hates Destiny. So far out from a presidential election, I'm not sure how consequential this is outside of signaling your opinion on the dire need for change. This is a strategy to apply pressure as a minority voting bloc that is usually secure for Democrats. Totally understand why mainstream Dem voters and influencers hate it. Concerningly, I see people trying to get smaller coalitions of the periphery in line via bullying like MAGA does. This won't work. Republicans are servile by nature, so yelling at them to fall in line works. Liberals and progressives do not respect authority or value loyalty in the same way, so taking the same approach is doomed to fail. Find a way to get these voters on your side with incentives or move on to another voting bloc. Hand-wringing about the lack of loyalty is a waste of everyone's time. You'll never insult or bully people your way into gaining their vote. You'll only increase their apathy. The irony, of course, is that because I'm so goddamn stubborn, I don't turn around and go, okay, the Democrats lost me as a person who will work for them, as a person who will work with them. You can yell at me all day, every day. You can say I'm a MAGA voter or whatever the fuck you want. The reality of the matter is, if I was a MAGA voter, you would probably be sucking my dick right now. Tiff Mahogany 44, NATO member. Hassan Parker, the black and brown communities in the U.S. must live under the boot of the GOP until Gaza is free or something. George Smiley, black woman, pro-West, pro-NATO, pro-Ukraine, dark Brandon Democrat, NAFO forever. I think if this person got their wishes and the Democratic Party actually, ran on whatever the fuck she cares about, they would get like a total of 18 votes, maybe. I suspect that they would get 18 total votes. Now, this is not a real position at all. This is coming directly from Langley, I think. That this is a federal agent, right? But it's pretty funny that this person thinks like the average Americans would vote for, being a pro-NAFO supporter or something rather than free healthcare. Hassan's not gay. He's not an immigrant. He's a multimillionaire who gets more views the worse things are. He has more to benefit from a Trump-Vance presidency than 99.9% of Americans. Identity politics in 2026, multimillionaire streamer is not an identity. This is awesome because this person literally is a ultra-Zionist. Who will the median voter listen to? We should stop giving Israel quintillion dollars and instead spend it on ourselves, my position, versus if you don't give Israel $17 quintillion, you are a anti-Semite who must be removed from their position of power, who must no longer be able to get gainful employment. I wonder, out of these two ideas, Whose ideas are more popular? Here's a fun game, says leftist lawyer. Whenever you see centrist slop slinging loser complaining about the left, search their posts for the word genocide. It's always look at what they think about Gaza, look at what they think about Israel, look at what they think about ICE, even though some of these centrists have actually moved on ICE, luckily. This tweet is so funny because you would do 100K concurrent in an AOC presidency? Yes, 100%. That's what's so hilarious about it. Also, this kind of attitude is so stupid. Because I do well regardless. People said, oh, when Biden gets elected, you'll lose your audience. And guess what? I didn't. How about you worry about building your own platform? You know what I mean? How about you worry about building your own audience with your own shit-ass ideas? That Basil Cuck voted for Cuomo. Oh, that's the other thing. When you see people chirp like this, see what they said about voting for Andrew Cuomo over Zohran Mamdani. Yeah, this was the other one. Facts Lives Matter. Zohran Mamdani barely won a local election in liberal New York City against terrible candidates. The leftists will never win a national election in this country, and Hassan is willing to help a Republican inflict harm on the marginalized people he claims to care about. He's an awful person. I think Mamdani ran a good campaign and should be given a chance, but you leftists need to stop kissing his ass. Zohran sucks, and I hope he loses. Well, give it some more time. You'd be sucking his dick. Semi-related, but going through the replies in your tweet storm, I noticed the libs will at least pretend they've always been at our position with Mamdani specifically, but generally too. I know. That's good. They're bending the knee. They're genuflecting. That's my point. My point is these guys are regime pilled. They will defend whatever the Democratic Party puts out. So it is pertinent upon us to make sure that the people that the Democrats are putting out are fucking socialists. That's it. It's that simple. Because some of these people do unironically believe that socialists are a dead end, just as they legitimately believe that resisting against ICE occupation in Minneapolis would not lead to anything promising. They have no vision. They lack political courage. They lack vision. Destiny said in a recent stream that he likes Mamdani when he does good things, but when things fall apart in New York, he'll say, I told you so. Yeah.